Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. We thought we were going to be doing the main mast lower sail today, but I got to looking at the instructions again. I know it wanted us to do the foremast topsail, and I hadn't even finished the rat lines up there yet, but went ahead and did both sides of the rat lines. And while I'm waiting on that glue to dry, I went ahead and looked into plans to see all the running rigging ropes for this topsail on the foremast and get them pre-installed in their different places. So we got 4 here, so when we tie this on to the mast, all we got to do is feed these down through the crow's nest and hook them onto a baling pin. And then I pre-did the other running rigging lines for that topsail. So we're going to have these two going over to the ends of the yard arm and then back down. And then we got 2 up here that are going to go out to the ends of the yard arm and then back down. So we got all those ready. I think this glue is dry enough yet. We can take our nippers and cut these off, get that jig out of the way, and then tie that sail onto the mast and run all these rigging lines. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus the tie on the middle of the yard to the mast. And the plans show all the lines coming down going to the outside baling pin racks. And I noticed I've got 2 baling pins left over that are open for a rope on that one there in the middle. I was wondering if I should use those instead of following directions. Well, maybe we should follow directions and tie them off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll leave 1, or I got 1 pin in there already. That'll leave 2. So we'll do that and leave the ones that are open there in the middle, just to follow as close as we can the instructions. So there's like 4 pages of running rigging for this one topsail here. You see I got the rat lines done on the other side. So all I got to do now is cut and remove that jig and start running some lines. All the lines are ready to run. We don't have to guess on lengths or anything. We just got to tie them off on the baling pin. That goes pretty quick once you get into doing it. It's like wiring a house. You run 1 wire at a time. So while we're thinking about it, let's come out. I already got 2 eggs this morning. They're doing pretty good. They're not near as hot as we were a couple of weeks ago. After that hurricane came through, it cooled everything down a little bit. here is Henny Penny. My wife's got names for all the other ones. One of them, Rhode Island Reds, is Big Red. So I did restock on my bedding and hay, and got another trash can to keep feed and stuff in. So we got the egg layer feed in here. We got mealy worms and cracked corn in here, and then we got a bunch of sunflower seeds and bird seed in there, so that we can give them treats whenever they get loud. They do get loud every now and then. They know we're going to give them something. They'll start making a ruckus. Sometimes they'll make a ruckus just because they laid an egg. We got some taters coming up. A bunch of okra we've already harvested. Some flowers. More okra. Tomatoes are sort of fading away. So we planted some squash and green beans and zucchini. These all are young. All the green beans are from seed. They just popped up in the last week or two. I think we got some onions and parsley, rosemary and thyme, and some eggplant, a few other little things. That's peanuts right there. There's a bunch of peanuts on that when you pull it up. This is a blueberry bush, avocado, papaya. So the fall garden is underway. So let me set this camera up in stop motion, closed caption or whatever you call it, and we'll get some running rigging in this sail installed. So we've got several of them down to the deck for tie off. And now I'm running, I think these are the last two up here that got to get down through the crow's nest. A lot of lines running everywhere, so don't want to tangle anything up. I can't see where it's at. Yeah, the shroud's in my way. That's not it. There it is. But I want it behind the shroud here so it can go straight down through this other crow's nest. And then come out over here to the side where the baling pins are. And now this one, let's get through this block and hold the corner of the sail down. And there's just enough fuzz on the end of this that it doesn't want to go through easily. A lot of times I use super glue on the end of my string or wax, but it's really hard to make it stiff enough to get through the block. If the block's got a burr in it, it's really hard to get through there. So it's easier just to clean the burr out. And then now this is going to go through this block over here. And then down. And I'm looking at the block. Might as well clean it out, because it looks like it's got a burr in it. When I drill these out, I try to sand both sides of the opening and then run the block through the drill bit again on the drill press, just to try to get them as clean as I can, because I know I'm going to have this problem. I get a little wet and see if that'll help. There. So it's through the hole. It's got to go behind the shrouds in the rat line. And then down through the crow's nest. And there's so many lines now that it's starting to get hard to keep track of what's going where. Okay, so I got these ready to tie off. We got these ready to tie off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I'll reset the camera down on the deck and get some more baling pins installed, or get them ready, because I don't want them all in a row when I'm down here tying off these lines. I want one there so I got room to get that thing around it and then tie the upside down knot and then pull it tight. Then I'll stick the next baling pin in. That gives me a free space over here to work this one baling pin, and I don't have to worry about running into stuff while I'm tying it off down there. So I'm going to change the camera angle here. Okay, picking the next one, because the last one would make the sail start to furl up, so I don't want to put pressure on the sail furling up until I get the bottom of the corner of the sail pulled down. This is definitely a 2 tweezer tool action here. I try to get 2 wraps on the top of the baling pin after I get it hung on the bottom. I go loop it around the bottom of the pin first and then bring it up to the top of the rack, and then go around it 2 times with the and now I'm going to try to trap I've got a loop there already. And then pulling that slack while I've got that loop upside down. Yeah, it came off. So I'm going to try this again. See, I make that loop, and while the loop stays in that position, I turn it upside down. And hook it over and see how it pulled it. Sort of like a clove hitch or a half clove hitch. And a real sailor would do that 2 or 3 times on that baling pin and then coil the rope up for storage, and he could have the slack So we got one more over here, which is the starboard side, bottom tail, pulling it so it would furl the sail up. If I release this bailing pin here, this one would furl it up, this one pulls it down. So we got another bailing pin ready here. Put that in, hook it on the bottom, go around one time, go around two times, I don't want to let go of my other hand so I could trap this loop. Put the loop over the bailing pin upside down, and now pull the slack out without letting it come off of the bailing pin. I got it wrapped around the other bailing pin. Bah. I'm at the wrong angle on these big long tweezers. Try that loop again. That's why sometimes I'll let go of the big tweezers and trap it with this reverse tweezers. Create my loop. Get the loop to behave itself and stay on there. And then pull the slack out. There we go. Get this out of the way and pull that tight. And then check up top and make sure that it's like I want it up top where this is pulling on it. Put the glue on there, so now we can turn the ship around. Now we got one more over here that'll go down to that rack from this middle section. Then we'll turn the ship around and do that, all four of them on the other side. Alright, all our lines are tied off down below. We got 8 of them all together that come down, 3 up top and 1 down here. So that takes care of that second pulley that we didn't know where it went to when we were doing this middle sail. It also took care of the second pulley that's out here on the end that we didn't know where it went to. We sort of learned that down here, but it all makes sense now as we get all the way from the bottom to the top of the mast. And then we got all 8 of them tied off over there on the bailing pin rack on both sides, and cut our tails off. one of the things that we're using this Jeep right now to do the acid coat on the baling pins, but you can see there's little finishing nails stuck in that rack, and I think that's what I used on the Bounty or on this model here, but we wrap rope around those at a pair of pins and create a little loop knot that we can drape over the baling pin and make it look like there's a 10 or 20 foot of slack on that rope as it hangs there on the baling pin rack. You can see where the captain is standing at there, talking to the lieutenant or one of his officers. That baling pin rack has got little loops of rope tied out in the middle to simulate that. And I just made a loop as I was tying around here, and after I tie it and glue it and cut it, I let it sit on there till it dries and then pull them off, shape them a little bit to fit. But we got a whole bunch of those to make up. It probably isn't in the directions, but we'll do that anyway just to make it look more authentic. So another sale done this week. All the ropes and fixings. Thanks for watching.